Hey there, estate planning attorney Paul Rabalais here, and in this video we're going to talk about when or at what age you should start giving serious consideration to long-term care Medicaid eligibility planning. All right, big picture here is that one of the biggest fears that middle-class seniors tell me they face is that at least the biggest fear related to estate planning is that they could lose everything if they get sick and need nursing home care in the future. It's a delicate area. Nobody looks forward to the possibility of having to reside in a nursing home. And however, the consequences of failing to prepare for that can really mean you lose everything. So when is the right time to engage in this Medicaid eligibility planning? Well, before I get into that, first let me tell you that in a perfect world, people don't have to engage in Medicaid eligibility planning, because in a perfect world, people, while they are in their 20s and 30s and 40s, they realize that these expenses are going to be necessary and they're going to exist later in life, in addition to the other retirement expenses that they will need. And so in a perfect world, those people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, they sacrifice, they save, they embrace the concept of delayed gratification. And in a perfect world, they have no financial disasters, no emergencies. And in a perfect world, those people accumulate an estate that may have a value of anywhere from maybe 1.5 million or 2 million or more, or maybe much more. And then later in life, they can cover those long-term care expenses by getting care in their own home, if that's what they want to do, or moving into the facility of their choosing and paying for that care, if that's what they want to do. However, we're not in a perfect world. So some people get to the point in their life, and that couple, for example, may say something like, "Uh-oh, honey, we're 75 years old. Where did the time go? Good thing our home is paid for and it's worth about $200,000. And good thing we've got some savings with our checking and our savings and a little bit of CD money and some investments. Our life savings is about $300,000. But honey, our health, it's not getting better. We're 75. In fact, it's starting to decline. In fact, I know if something happened where I couldn't take care of myself, honey, you physically certainly couldn't take care of me." And so certainly, all these life insurance policies and annuities with long-term care riders, those are out of the question. We wouldn't qualify for it anyway, and they're very expensive, and we don't want to do any of that. So honey, if we get sick and need long-term care, we risk losing all of our savings, and our kids risk losing our home if we don't do something now. Because if one or both of them have to go into a nursing home, they'll have to spend that $300,000 of life savings at the nursing home. Depending upon where they live and what nursing home costs are in their area, that expense may be $6,000 to $12,000 a month. And if both of them are in the nursing home, it's going to cost double that every month. They'll have to deplete their $300,000, and once they deplete their $300,000, Medicaid will then cover the long-term care or nursing home expense. But once Medicaid starts covering the nursing home expense, Medicaid accrues a lien on their home, so that after they pass away, Medicaid can enforce its lien and require their estate to sell the home to reimburse Medicaid for what Medicaid paid on their behalf while they were alive and in the nursing home, and after they had used up all of their savings. So lots of other videos on Medicaid planning, but the question here is when? When do you get serious and look into what avenues, what legal strategies, what should you do so that you don't lose everything in the event of that potential nursing home stay in the future? Problem is, if you wait too late, you risk not being able to take the actions that you need to take at least 5 years before you enter a nursing home. People call it the 5-year look-back period. If you're going to take advantage of titling and positioning things a certain way, it all needs to be done at least 5 years before you enter a nursing home. So that's the problem of waiting too late. If you start talking about this stuff too early, you're likely to do what I've seen so many others do, which is really dismiss the concept. Because if you start talking about this stuff too early, while you're still in that accumulation phase of saving and perhaps even working, and if you start too early, the thought of having to go into a nursing home in the next 5 to 10 years is completely unfathomable. When you start this conversation too early, you're healthy, you're invincible. That's something that's not going to happen to you, or not going to happen to you until decades into the future. And another kind of reason people dismiss it if they start talking about this too early is, well, you don't have to give up much control in order to protect what you have. There perhaps could be some control that you may have to give up, and you're just not ready to do that. Now, every family is different, and it's hard to give you a set time on when you should start getting serious about protecting what you have. But let's take a look at the statistics. The statistics are the average age that somebody enters a nursing home is, drumroll please, 79 years old. So in my kind of genius mathematical mind, to me, that means that about half of the people who enter a nursing home are older than 79, and about half of the people who enter a nursing home are younger than 79. So we know 50% are at least 79, and I'd say there's a whole big slew of people probably who enter in a nursing home, let's say between the ages of 72 and 79. And since you need to engage in Medicaid planning, if you're going to title things correctly, you need to do that at least 5 years before you enter the nursing home. As I look at all of these factors, and again, every family is unique. Some people get away with starting much later. Some people, because of their own health and their circumstances, really need to address it much earlier. But if somebody was to say, Paul, I tell you what, I'll give you $1,000 if you tell me what age you think people should start talking about Medicaid planning, I'd probably say, you know what, people should start talking about it and getting serious about it at about the age of, drumroll please, 67. Why not earlier? Because they're in that accumulation phase. Now they still, earlier than 67, you still need to engage in all of the relevant estate planning, all of the making sure that when you pass away, because you can pass away anytime, things go smooth, it goes to the right people, it's easy for everybody, if I'm incapacitated, who's going to be able to make decisions for me, all my healthcare decisions if I can't make them in the future. Really, any adult needs to address that. But as far as getting serious about titling things in a manner so that you could qualify for Medicaid if you enter a nursing home, I think around age 67 is the right age to do it. And again, not too much earlier, because Medicaid planning often means that you've got to get one or more of your children involved as participants in your kind of Medicaid planning program. And if you're 67 when you engage in this conversation and engage some of the legal strategies that are available to you to protect what you have from the nursing home, it's likely that one or more of your children are about 40 years old. And by the time your kids are 40, in general, not every family is unique, but by the time you have children that are 40, they're starting to become responsible adults. So if you need their signature for something in order to put together a Medicaid planning program, it's, they've at 40, they've passed all of the childhood foolishness, and they are serious about, cooperating with you and with the family to make sure, everything gets and stays protected. Now, obviously there's no problem with starting earlier than 67, but the real problem is waiting too late. That's where the problem lies. In fact, when people come into my office and they are just thinking about the concept, they've never heard of it before, but maybe something happened with their family, maybe they read something, they saw something, and now they're kind of freaking out because they realize that they may lose everything if they go to a nursing home. But if those people initiate that conversation while they're in their 80s or their 90s, we usually hear from the person or from the family or from the couple, heck, I'm 88 years old now. No use doing any of this Medicaid planning because I'm probably not going to make it 5 years anyway. So that's the kind of risk of starting this stuff too late. So I've never really thought of what's a right age to start this, but I'm just going to throw that age out there at 67. Some will do it much sooner. Some will wait till later. But with 67, that starts the 5-year period. And oh, by the way, if someone does engage in this at 67 and at 71, 4 years after they put some of these legal strategies in place, they have to go to a nursing home at 71, then they're really only on the hook for their nursing home expenses for that 1 year until the 5-year period expires. And then they would, all those assets that they protected would be protected then. So, 67 seems to be about the right age, starts the 5-year period. Average age going to a nursing home is 79. So that means about half of the people go in sooner. When you start at 67, the 5 years is up at age 72. If you start in your 40s and 50s, it just doesn't seem to be the right conversation when you're that young to start looking at protecting what you have in case you go to a nursing home. And obviously there's the, for people in their 40s and 50s and even their 60s who want to take a look at the kind of financial products that are available, all these life insurance policies, annuities that have long-term care riders. Obviously, the younger you are when you look at those, the better the numbers look. But as far as implementing legal strategies to try to protect what you have, usually mid to late 60s is kind of the ideal time to have that serious conversation. And of course, take action. Nothing gets protected without you taking action. The other important action to take and when to do it, quite frankly, is right now to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you won't miss anything. And then do me a favor and smash the like button. That tells YouTube to tell other people, hey, watch some of Paul's videos. People are liking this thing. A lot more to come just about every day. We'll see you next time. Y'all take care.